Have you ever looked into someone's eyes and felt something was off, an unease you couldn't quite place, a flicker of doubt that tugged at the corners of your mind? Their smile seemed warm, their words reassuring, yet deep within, your instincts whispered that what you were seeing wasn't the whole truth. It's as if a mask, perfectly crafted and meticulously worn, concealed a deeper hidden reality. We live in a world where appearances are often deceiving. People project what they want others to see, building facades that conceal their true nature. These masks can be charming, disarming, even hypnotic, but beneath them lies a reality far more complex and, at times, far more dangerous. Not everyone you encounter will have your best interests at heart. Some wear their masks not to protect themselves but to manipulate, deceive, and ultimately betray. Now, let me ask you this. How many times have you trusted someone, only to later discover that they weren't who they claimed to be? How many times has a smile concealed a dagger, a kind word masked hidden contempt, or a handshake been laced with betrayal? Think back to those moments. What clues did you miss? What signs did they leave behind, faint but undeniable, like breadcrumbs leading to their true face? Betrayal is a wound that cuts deeper than almost any other. It's not the act itself that stings the most, it's the realization that the person you trusted, the one who stood by your side, was wearing a mask all along. And the worst part, the signs were there. They always are. But we often overlook them, blinded by our hope, our loyalty, or our refusal to believe that someone we care about could deceive us. So how do we uncover the truth before it's too late? How do we see beyond the mask and recognize the signs of hidden betrayal? The answer lies in learning to observe, to notice the subtle inconsistencies, the quiet contradictions that give away a person's true intentions. These signs are not always obvious, but they are there waiting for those who are willing to look closely enough. Imagine for a moment that every interaction you have is a stage. Every person you meet an actor playing a role. Some roles are genuine, a true reflection of the actor's soul, but others are carefully scripted, rehearsed to perfection to create an illusion of trustworthiness. How do you discern between the two? How do you know when someone's performance is just that, a performance? It starts with understanding human nature. People can hide their actions, but they cannot fully mask their patterns. A deceptive smile may fool you for a moment, but over time the cracks in the mask begin to show. A fleeting glance, an unguarded moment, a slip of the tongue, these are the moments when the mask falters, revealing glimpses of the truth beneath. But only if you're paying attention. Here's the harsh reality: betrayal doesn't come from strangers. It comes from those closest to us, the friends we trust, the colleagues we confide in, the partners we love. And this is what makes it so painful. They know how to gain our trust, how to align their mask with our expectations, how to weave their facade seamlessly into our lives that we never see it coming, until we do. But here's the good news: betrayal is not inevitable. By learning to recognize the signs, you can protect yourself. You can arm yourself with the knowledge to see through the facade before it's too late. This is not about paranoia, it's about wisdom. It's about understanding that while most people are good and genuine, there are those who use masks to hide their true intentions. And it's your responsibility to discern the difference. Think about your life right now. Who do you trust? Who do you let into your inner circle? Are there people who make you question their sincerity, even if only faintly? Are there moments that feel inconsistent, gestures that don't match their words? Those feelings are not random. They are your instincts alerting you to something your conscious mind has not yet processed. Don't ignore them. Don't brush them aside. Trust your intuition, it is often more accurate than you realize. So, as we embark on this journey together, I ask you to open your mind and sharpen your senses. In the next few moments, I will reveal 5 powerful signs that can help you uncover hidden betrayal and see the true face behind the mask. These signs are not about judging others, they're about protecting yourself, about ensuring that your trust is placed in the right people and your energy invested in the right relationships. The truth is out there, waiting to be seen. It's hidden in the subtle, in the small, in the moments most people overlook. But if you learn to pay attention, to watch closely, and to trust what you see, you will uncover what lies beneath even the most convincing mask. So stay with me, because the journey we're about to take could change the way you see the world and the people around you forever. These 5 signs are like puzzle pieces, each revealing a part of the hidden picture. When you pay attention to these subtle behaviors, inconsistencies, avoidance of accountability, emotional disconnection, secrecy, and passive undermining, you begin to see the face behind the mask. Betrayal leaves clues, and once you learn to spot them, you'll no longer be caught off guard by those who hide their true intentions. 1. Inconsistent behavior. Inconsistent behavior is like a crack in the perfect mask, a tiny, almost imperceptible flaw that reveals far more than the person behind the mask wants you to see. It's not always obvious. In fact, the most skilled deceivers are masters at maintaining their facade, carefully crafting an image of reliability and trustworthiness. But here's the truth. No matter how polished their act, inconsistency always finds a way to seep through. What does inconsistency look like? It's the person who promises one thing but delivers another, time and time again. They might claim to have your back, but when you need them most, their priorities mysteriously shift. Their words are full of conviction, yet their actions tell a different story. One day they're supportive and kind, the next distant and indifferent. These shifts may seem small at first, but over time, they create a pattern, a trail of breadcrumbs leading to their true intentions. The key to spotting inconsistency lies in paying attention to details. People with something to hide often rely on distraction to divert your attention away from their contradictions. They may overwhelm you with charm or grand gestures, hoping you won't notice when their actions don't align with their words. But the truth is always in the details, the subtle moments where their mask begins to slip. Think about it. Consistency requires alignment. A person of integrity doesn't have to rehearse their behavior or double-check their words, because their actions naturally flow from their values. They don't need to remember what they said last week, because honesty doesn't require a script. But someone wearing a mask has to juggle multiple versions of themselves: the version they show you, the version they show others, and the version they hope no one ever sees. This juggling act is exhausting, and sooner or later something will slip. One of the most telling signs of inconsistency is a lack of follow-through. A deceptive person may make promises that sound too good to be true, and often they are. They might commit to helping you with a project or swear they'll be there for you when times get tough, only to vanish when the moment of truth arrives. Their excuses may seem plausible, even convincing, but when the same pattern repeats, it's no longer a coincidence. It's a choice. Another subtle yet powerful indicator of inconsistency is how they behave in different environments. A genuine person's character remains steady regardless of who they're with or what situation they're in. But someone hiding behind a mask will adapt their behavior to suit their audience. Around one group, they may act generous and kind, but in a different setting, their demeanor shifts to selfishness or indifference. These changes are not random, they're calculated, designed to maintain their facade in each specific context. Pay attention to how they treat others. Do they show respect and kindness only to people they perceive as important or influential? Or do they extend the same courtesy to everyone, regardless of status or circumstance? True character is consistent across the board. Deception is selective, revealing itself in the differences between how they act in public and private. Inconsistencies also show up in their storytelling. A person hiding betrayal may struggle to keep their narrative straight. They might tell you one version of events only to provide a slightly altered account later. These discrepancies may seem insignificant at first, but they are the cracks in the foundation of their mask. Over time, these cracks grow larger, making it impossible to ignore the truth beneath. One of the most dangerous aspects of inconsistency is its ability to erode trust slowly. It doesn't hit you like a sudden betrayal. Instead, it seeps into your relationship over time, creating confusion and doubt. You find yourself questioning their motives, replaying conversations in your mind, trying to make sense of the disconnect between what they say and what they do. This mental and emotional turmoil is exactly what a deceptive person relies on. They want you to doubt your instincts, to second-guess yourself instead of seeing the truth about them. But here's the empowering part. Once you recognize inconsistency for what it is, it becomes impossible to ignore. The more you pay attention, the more obvious it becomes. Each broken promise, each subtle shift in behavior, each carefully worded excuse adds to the evidence, painting a clearer picture of who they really are. It's like adjusting the focus on a blurry photograph. What once seemed confusing and unclear suddenly comes into sharp clarity. Inconsistent behavior is not just a sign of hidden betrayal. It's a warning. It tells you that the person you're dealing with is not aligned in their words and actions, that the mask they wear is hiding a truth they don't want you to see. It's your opportunity to step back, to observe, and to protect yourself from further harm, because the mask may be convincing, but the truth always reveals itself to those who are willing to see it. 2. Subtle avoidance of accountability. Avoidance of accountability is a hallmark of someone hiding behind a mask. It's not the loud, obvious refusal to take responsibility that betrays them, it's the subtle deflections, the carefully crafted excuses, and the quiet ways they shift blame to others. This behavior often slips under the radar because it's disguised as self-preservation, but in truth, it reveals a deeper unwillingness to confront their own actions. At first glance, it may seem harmless, a missed deadline excused by a busy schedule, a forgotten promise chalked up to an honest mistake. But over time, a pattern emerges. Each instance of avoidance adds another layer to the mask they wear, hiding their true nature behind a veneer of justification. They never seem to directly acknowledge their role in a problem or take steps to make amends. Instead, their energy goes into crafting narratives that keep their image intact. Pay close attention to the way they respond when things go wrong. Do they immediately own up to their mistakes? Or do they hesitate, searching for a way to minimize their involvement? A person avoiding accountability might say things like, "I didn't have all the information," or "it wasn't my decision alone," subtly redirecting focus away from their own actions. These phrases may sound reasonable on the surface, but they serve a purpose: to protect the mask they wear and shield their true intentions. Another key indicator of accountability avoidance is how they handle confrontation. When faced with criticism or conflict, do they engage in honest dialogue, or do they shut down, deflect, or attempt to redirect the conversation? Watch for phrases like, "Why are you bringing this up now?" or "Let's not dwell on the past." These are not statements of resolution, they are tactics to evade responsibility and prevent deeper scrutiny. Even in moments where they cannot fully escape blame, someone avoiding accountability will often dilute their responsibility by spreading it thin. They might say, "I wasn't the only one involved," or "this happened because of factors beyond my control." By sharing the blame or pointing to external circumstances, they dilute the impact of their actions and keep their mask firmly in place. Subtle avoidance of accountability can also show up in their body language. Pay attention to their physical responses when the topic of responsibility arises. Do they avoid eye contact? Do they fidget, change the subject, or appear visibly uncomfortable? These nonverbal cues often speak louder than words, revealing their discomfort with being held accountable. What makes this sign particularly deceptive is its quiet nature. A person who avoids accountability doesn't always deny responsibility outright. Instead, they use softer, more calculated methods to sidestep the issue. They may apologize, but their apologies often lack depth or sincerity. A statement like, "I'm sorry if you felt that way," shifts the focus onto your perception rather than their actions, creating an illusion of accountability without true ownership. This avoidance isn't just about protecting their image, it's about maintaining control. By refusing to take responsibility, they keep others guessing, unsure of where they stand. It creates a dynamic where trust erodes slowly, as their refusal to confront the truth leaves you questioning their motives. Over time, this pattern chips away at the foundation of any relationship, revealing the cracks beneath the surface. The absence of accountability is also a reflection of how they view relationships. Someone who consistently evades responsibility sees connections not as partnerships based on trust and mutual respect, but as transactional arrangements. They're more interested in what they can gain or protect than in fostering genuine understanding or growth. This self-serving perspective becomes increasingly clear as their mask begins to slip. Recognizing avoidance of accountability requires you to stay attentive and trust your instincts. When you sense that someone is sidestepping responsibility, don't ignore the feeling. Look at the larger picture. Are their justifications a one-time occurrence, or do they form a pattern? Do they take meaningful action to correct their mistakes, or do they move on as though nothing happened? The answers to these questions will provide invaluable insights into their character. Avoidance of accountability isn't just a small red flag, it's a glaring signal that someone may not have your best interests at heart. It's a sign that the mask they wear is hiding a truth they're not ready to face. But here's the empowering part: once you recognize this behavior for what it is, you gain the clarity to protect yourself. Because no matter how carefully constructed their facade, the truth always reveals itself to those who choose to see it. Let me share a story about someone who thought they'd found the perfect mentor, someone charismatic, experienced, and full of promises. At first, everything seemed ideal. The mentor offered advice, connections, and encouragement, constantly speaking about trust and integrity. It felt like a dream partnership. But over time, subtle cracks appeared. Missed meetings, vague excuses, and deflected blame became frequent. The mentor started withholding important information, leaving key decisions unexplained. These signs were there, but they were easy to dismiss until a major client unexpectedly backed out of a deal. Digging deeper, the truth came out: the mentor had secretly undercut the deal for personal gain. When confronted, the response was chilling: "It's just business. You're too naive." It was then the realization hit: the signs had been there all along. The missed meetings, the excuses, the secrecy, it all pointed to betrayal hidden behind a mask. This story is a powerful reminder: the mask always cracks if you pay attention. The signs of hidden betrayal are subtle but undeniable, and recognizing them can save you from heartbreak and setbacks. Let's now explore the next sign to help you protect yourself from similar situations. 3. Emotional disconnection. Emotional disconnection is one of the most revealing signs that someone is hiding their true face. It is not always obvious, nor does it manifest in grand gestures. Instead, it creeps into conversations, interactions, and relationships through small, subtle moments of detachment. At its core, emotional disconnection signals a lack of genuine investment, a failure to form a meaningful connection with others, because the person is too focused on maintaining their mask. When someone is emotionally disconnected, you might sense that their presence feels hollow. They may say all the right words and even appear engaged, but there is an absence of true feeling behind their actions. Their gestures of empathy or concern often come across as rehearsed, as if they are following a script rather than responding naturally. This lack of authenticity is a key clue that what you're seeing is a facade, carefully designed to conceal their true intentions. One of the clearest signs of emotional disconnection is a pattern of surface-level responses. When you share your feelings or seek their support, do they offer real empathy, or do their answers feel dismissive or generic? They might respond with phrases like, "That must be tough for you," or "I understand what you're going through," but their tone lacks warmth, and their actions don't back up their words. These responses are designed to keep up appearances without requiring them to engage on a deeper emotional level. Another hallmark of emotional disconnection is their inability or unwillingness to be vulnerable. Genuine relationships thrive on mutual openness and trust, but someone hiding behind a mask will avoid revealing their own emotions or struggles. Instead, they may deflect the conversation back to you or steer it toward neutral topics. While this may seem like politeness, it often serves as a barrier, preventing you from seeing what lies beneath their carefully constructed facade. Emotional disconnection can also reveal itself in their reaction to emotionally charged situations. When faced with another person's pain, joy, or anger, do they respond with genuine understanding, or do they appear distant and disengaged? They might offer advice or solutions without truly addressing the emotions involved, focusing on practicalities rather than connecting on a personal level. This detachment often leaves you feeling unheard or unsupported, even when they claim to care. A disconnected person may also struggle to celebrate your successes sincerely. Instead of sharing in your joy, their reactions might feel forced or lukewarm. They might say, "That's great," but their enthusiasm doesn't match the moment. This lack of emotional resonance can be a sign that their interest in your achievements is superficial, driven more by obligation than by genuine happiness for you. Body language often speaks louder than words when it comes to emotional disconnection. Observe their eye contact, posture, and gestures during conversations. Do they look you in the eye, or do they seem distracted, as if their mind is elsewhere? Are their movements open and inviting, or do they appear closed off and guarded? These physical cues are often unintentional, revealing the truth even when their words try to obscure it. What makes emotional disconnection so dangerous is its subtlety. It doesn't confront you directly. Instead, it leaves you questioning your own instincts. You might find yourself thinking, maybe I'm expecting too much, or perhaps they just have a different way of expressing themselves. But over time, the lack of emotional depth takes its toll. It creates a sense of isolation, as if you're reaching out to someone who is always just out of reach. The reason for this disconnection often lies in the person's deeper intentions. By keeping their emotions at arm's length, they maintain control. They don't risk vulnerability, which could expose their true self or reveal inconsistencies in their facade. This emotional distance allows them to navigate relationships on their terms, giving just enough to keep their mask intact while avoiding genuine commitment. Recognizing emotional disconnection requires a willingness to trust your instincts. If you feel that something is missing, if their words and actions don't align with the emotional connection you expect, don't dismiss those feelings. Look for patterns. Are they consistently detached, even in moments that should evoke strong emotions? Do they avoid meaningful conversations or fail to reciprocate vulnerability? These patterns are the cracks in their mask, revealing the truth beneath. In the end, emotional disconnection is not just a lack of empathy, it's a deliberate choice to keep others at a distance. It's a way to protect their mask and avoid exposing the true face behind it. But once you learn to recognize this behavior, you gain the power to protect yourself. You no longer have to wonder if something is wrong. You can see the signs for what they are, a warning to look deeper and tread carefully. 4. Evasiveness and secrecy. Evasiveness and secrecy are among the most telling signs of hidden betrayal. Unlike open defiance or blatant lies, this behavior operates in the shadows, cloaked in subtlety and designed to keep you guessing. It's not what they say that raises alarms, it's what they don't say. The gaps in their stories, the unanswered questions, the reluctance to provide clarity, these are the tools of someone determined to maintain their mask. A person who is evasive creates a sense of unease, leaving you with the nagging feeling that something isn't quite right. They dodge direct questions with vague answers, change the subject when pressed for details, or deflect attention away from themselves. These tactics are not random, they are deliberate strategies to control the narrative and keep you in the dark. Pay attention to how often they leave you feeling confused or uncertain. It's a sign that they're hiding more than they're revealing. Secrecy goes hand in hand with evasiveness, but it manifests in different ways. A secretive person might avoid sharing personal information, claiming they value privacy, but there's a difference between healthy boundaries and deliberate concealment. Someone with something to hide builds walls that are designed not to protect themselves, but to keep you from seeing what's behind them. They'll say things like, "You don't need to know that," or "Why does it matter?" when asked about their actions or decisions. While these statements may seem harmless, they are actually ways to deflect scrutiny. The hallmark of secrecy is inconsistency. A person hiding the truth often struggles to keep their story straight. They may provide conflicting accounts of the same event, or suddenly forget details they previously shared. These inconsistencies are not just mistakes, they are cracks in the mask they wear. The more evasive and secretive they are, the harder it becomes for them to maintain a coherent facade, and the more obvious their true intentions become. Another common tactic of evasive people is to turn the focus back on you. When you ask them a direct question, they may respond with one of their own, such as, "Why are you asking me that?" or "Don't you trust me?" These responses are designed to shift the spotlight away from them and onto your motives, making you feel as though you're the one being unreasonable. This deflection creates doubt, causing you to second-guess your instincts rather than question their behavior. Watch for how they handle transparency in their actions. Are they open about their whereabouts, decisions, or plans? Or do they keep you guessing? A person with nothing to hide will offer details freely, without hesitation or evasion. But someone who is secretive will avoid specifics, opting for vague explanations like, "I'm just handling some stuff," or "Don't worry about it." Over time, this lack of openness becomes a pattern, a signal that their mask is hiding more than they want you to know. Body language often betrays secrecy before words do. An evasive person may avoid eye contact when questioned, shift uncomfortably, or appear overly defensive. Their physical reactions can be subtle, but they often reveal the tension of maintaining a lie. Pay attention to these cues. They can provide valuable insights into what they're trying to conceal. Secrecy also shows itself in how they handle access to information. Do they guard their phone or computer excessively, even in situations where it wouldn't normally matter? Do they hesitate to share simple details like where they've been or who they've spoken to? While everyone is entitled to privacy, an extreme reluctance to share even innocuous information can indicate a deeper issue. It's not just about protecting their space, it's about protecting their mask. Evasiveness is particularly dangerous because it plants seeds of doubt in your mind. You might find yourself wondering if you're overreacting, imagining things, or being unfair. But remember, trust is built on clarity and openness, not mystery and ambiguity. If someone's behavior consistently leaves you feeling confused or uncertain, it's not your imagination, it's their mask slipping. What makes this sign so significant is that it's often a precursor to larger betrayals. A person who evades responsibility, avoids sharing details, or keeps secrets is laying the groundwork for actions they don't want you to discover. They may not be overtly lying, but their silence speaks volumes. Each vague answer, each deflected question, each carefully guarded secret is a clue that something is being hidden. Recognizing evasiveness and secrecy requires vigilance and a willingness to trust your instincts. It's easy to dismiss these behaviors as quirks or harmless habits, but when they form a consistent pattern, they reveal a deeper truth. The person behind the mask is not just protecting themselves, they're concealing something they don't want you to see. In the end, secrecy and evasiveness are not just signs of deception, they are barriers to trust. They create a dynamic where one person holds all the control, leaving the other to navigate a maze of half-truths and unanswered questions. But once you learn to recognize these behaviors, you gain the clarity to see through the mask and protect yourself from hidden betrayal. Because no matter how skillfully someone crafts their facade, the truth always leaves a trace. 5. Subtle undermining and passive behavior. Subtle undermining and passive behavior are some of the most insidious signs of hidden betrayal. Unlike outright hostility or overt actions, this form of betrayal lurks in the shadows, quietly chipping away at trust and confidence. It's not loud, dramatic, or obvious, it's subtle, almost imperceptible at first, and that's what makes it so dangerous. It thrives in the little moments, in the whispers of doubt and the undercurrents of sabotage that often go unnoticed until the damage is already done. This kind of behavior often masquerades as support or neutrality. The person may appear helpful on the surface, offering a smile or a kind word, but their actions or inactions tell a different story. They might offer advice that subtly steers you off course, feign ignorance when you need their help, or conveniently forget to follow through on commitments that matter most to you. It's not what they say or do outright, but the undertones of their behavior that reveal their true intentions. One of the most telling signs of subtle undermining is their use of backhanded compliments or passive-aggressive remarks. These are comments that seem supportive at first but carry an undercurrent of criticism or doubt. For example, they might say, "I'm surprised you pulled that off, I didn't think you could handle it." Or, "That's a bold choice, I'm not sure I could take that risk." These statements are not designed to uplift, they're meant to plant seeds of insecurity, to make you question yourself while they maintain their facade of being supportive. Another key aspect of subtle undermining is how they handle your successes. Instead of celebrating your achievements, they might downplay them or redirect the focus onto themselves. They might say, "That's great, but you still have a long way to go," or "I've done something similar before, but it was even harder for me." These responses are not about acknowledging your accomplishments. They're about diminishing them, ensuring that your moment of triumph feels smaller than it should. Passive behavior also plays a significant role in hidden betrayal. A passive person may not actively sabotage you, but their lack of action or support can be just as harmful. Imagine needing help with a critical task, only for them to offer excuses or fail to show up when it matters most. Their inaction forces you to carry the burden alone, leaving you to wonder if their absence was truly accidental or if it was intentional. Passive behavior often manifests in subtle forms of holding. They might withhold information, resources, or even emotional support, creating obstacles that hinder your progress. For example, they might neglect to share important details about an opportunity, leaving you unprepared or excluded. This withholding is not random, it's calculated, designed to keep you in a weaker position without appearing openly hostile. Another hallmark of subtle undermining is their ability to create doubt in your relationships with others. They might share half-truths or frame their words in a way that casts you in a negative light, all while pretending to have your best interests at heart. For instance, they might say, "I'm only telling you this because I care, but I heard someone questioning your decisions." These statements are not about helping you, they're about isolating you, making you doubt yourself and your connections with others. Pay attention to their patterns of behavior. Someone who undermines you subtly will often alternate between support and sabotage, keeping you off balance. One moment they're your biggest cheerleader, the next they're the source of your greatest frustrations. This inconsistency is deliberate, it's a way to maintain control, ensuring that you're never quite sure where you stand with them. Subtle undermining and passive behavior can also erode your confidence over time. When someone repeatedly questions your abilities, even in seemingly minor ways, it creates a ripple effect. You start to second-guess your decisions, wondering if you're truly capable or if their quiet doubts are justified. This erosion of confidence is exactly what they want to keep you doubting yourself so you don't notice the truth about them. Body language can also provide clues to subtle undermining. Watch for micro-expressions of disdain like a fleeting smirk or an eye roll, even as they offer words of encouragement. These small gestures betray their true feelings, revealing the disconnection between their outward actions and their inner thoughts. Similarly, notice if their tone of voice lacks warmth or sincerity when they offer praise or advice. These discrepancies, while subtle, are powerful indicators of their real intentions. The danger of subtle undermining and passive behavior lies in its invisibility. Unlike overt betrayal, which is easy to recognize, this form of deception hides in the margins, making it difficult to call out without feeling overly critical or paranoid. But the cumulative effect of these small actions and inactions can be devastating, eroding trust and stability in ways that are hard to repair. Recognizing this sign requires heightened awareness and a willingness to trust your instincts. If you feel drained, unsupported, or undermined in a relationship, take a closer look at the dynamics. Are their words and actions truly aligned with support, or do they leave you feeling weaker and more uncertain? Subtle undermining thrives on doubt, but once you see it for what it is, its power begins to fade. Subtle undermining and passive behavior are not just signs of hidden betrayal, they are deliberate tools used to maintain control while keeping their mask intact. By learning to recognize these behaviors, you can protect yourself from their quiet sabotage and ensure that your energy is spent on relationships built on trust, respect, and authenticity. Betrayal is one of life's deepest wounds, not because of the act itself, but because of where it often comes from the people we trust, the ones we believe are on our side. Yet, as we've explored today, the signs of hidden betrayal are always there, waiting to be seen. Inconsistencies in behavior, avoidance of accountability, emotional disconnection, secrecy, and subtle undermining. They may seem small on their own, but together they paint a vivid picture of someone hiding behind a mask. These signs are not just tools for self-protection, they're keys to clarity. They allow you to step out of the fog of uncertainty and see people for who they truly are. But this isn't just about identifying betrayal, it's about fostering stronger, healthier relationships. By recognizing these behaviors, you can protect yourself from harm and surround yourself with people who are genuine, trustworthy, and aligned with your values. Remember, the mask may be convincing, but the truth always reveals itself to those who are willing to see it. Trust your instincts, observe the patterns, and don't ignore the cracks in the facade. By doing so, you empower yourself to navigate relationships with wisdom and confidence, safeguarding your heart and energy for those who truly deserve it. Thank you for joining me on this journey to uncover the truth behind the mask people wear. I hope you leave here today with a sharper eye, a stronger intuition, and the courage to seek authenticity in every relationship you build. The world may be full of people who hide their true intentions, but it's also filled with those who are genuine, kind, and worthy of your trust. Use what you've learned to discern the difference. Remember, life is too precious to waste on betrayal and deception. Guard your heart, trust your instincts, and hold on to the relationships that uplift and inspire you. You deserve nothing less. Thank you, and take care.